What's going on, boys and girls? Today we're taking a look at one of the prelims on UFC 311. Rinya Nakamura versus Muin Gafurov. Today we'll take a look at their skills, kind of give it a breakdown, and try to leave you with the best bet. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Rinya Nakamura is another massive favorite, and honestly, since he got into the UFC, he has been receiving ridiculous amounts of love when it comes to odds makers. Nakamura is a potential superstar, and from the Japanese market, there is untapped fans there for the UFC. He's been training since he was a child and surrounded by MMA at his father's gym. It's developed him into what is a well-rounded and honestly dominant fighter, as we've seen in some of his performances. Rinya wrestled in college, became an under-23 world champion in wrestling before pursuing mixed martial arts full-time, and then he won the road to the UFC in his second year as a professional mixed martial artist. And now, after 3 official UFC fights, his average odds in the organization are 8-1 as a favorite, and that's average across 3 fights. Nakamura in his last 2 fights has landed 7 takedowns while doubling his opponent's significant strikes, and his takedowns are quick and extremely textbook, getting to his opponent's hips, driving, flipping, and getting the takedown. Nakamura's takedowns and honestly his striking as well benefit extremely from how fast Nakamura is. You'll see in his fights, he is a fast twitch athlete as well as instincts as a mixed martial arts fighter since his youth, training, learning, breaking down MMA. It's hard to see him take any losses outside of the top 15, in my opinion. Now, no fighter is perfect, and the main question you gotta have is his lack of extensive pro mixed martial arts in cage experience. And I really think that the only thing holding him back from these top 15 fights are the fact that he's undefeated at only 9-0 and hasn't been in pro MMA for more than 4 years. And that is a little bit crazy when it comes to seeing these regional fighters, these outside the top 15 fighters, having over 10 to 20 fights and having over 12 to 15 regional fights prior to the UFC to train, learn, and have these kind of long bouts, these quick bouts, dealing with what they need to deal with in the cage. But other than that, it's hard to see from a pure skill perspective how this guy is going to lose a fight, and odds makers reflect it. We look across the cage is Muin Gafurov. He's the former LFA bantamweight champion. He's a 2-time world champion in combat sambo and an international master of sport in, again, combat sambo. Began training in his youth at around 6 years old. Looks up to Russian MMA icon Fedor Emelianenko. Now, with that quick bio out of the way, Gafurov is a pressure striker in my opinion, and what he lacks in technical ability, he clearly makes up for in his relentlessness, his forward pressure. It's also impossible not to mention Gafurov's honestly pretty impressive kicking game. He cycles through a deep bag from low kicks to spinning body kicks, roundhouse kicks, and even getting as creative as throwing axe kicks, and they're effective. He's finished a fight with a spinning body kick to the liver, and as we've seen from John Jones, making it iconic. That is a great way to finish opponents. Nonetheless, very well rounded as well, training with the likes of bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili and Aljamain Sterling. You know that he's seen a lot, and he's not worried too much whether it's striking or grappling, and he's willing to go either way in fights. However, I wouldn't say he's super dominant in either aspect. Castanado took Gafurov down with relative ease. Said Nurmagomedov submitted him on Gafurov's first takedown attempt. So Gafurov, though he is a great striker, relentless, and he is a very well-rounded fighter, when it comes to this matchup, I think speed, momentum, and athleticism, every single category falls in favor of the Japanese fighter, and I think that the odds correctly reflect Nakamura as the favorite here. And honestly, when I first saw it, it felt like a Gafurov or nothing play. It still kind of feels that way with how wide the line is, but it kind of made me understand more of why this line is so wide. I think Nakamura starts out on the feet, where the fight is honestly the most dangerous for Nakamura, as Gafurov could possibly land a big strike, and it is hard to finish Gafurov, and either from Gafurov's pressure overhand rights or that that spinning body kick, but I do expect Nakamura at some point in this fight to move to his grappling. Now, he is fast at getting into double leg attempts, and I think that he has a clear edge there as well. Again, this is a spot that, look, going in, thought Gafarov might have an advantage, but it's clearly on the side of Nakamura, in my opinion. And I personally will look at props on the Nakamura side. Nakamura, in my opinion, is just better everywhere. If Gafarov was to get the result here, I would genuinely be surprised. I'm excited to watch the fight, as Gafarov's fights are very intriguing. The forward pressure fighters that are as relentless as Gafarov make for some of the more exciting fights, but still, I wouldn't take the leap of faith taking Gafarov as an underdog. I think that Nakamura is a special fighter. If you want more on Nakamura, you could check out a career highlight video. I'll link it in the top corner and in the description below. But that'll do it for my breakdown video. If you enjoyed, smash that like button, subscribe to Combat Sports Central, and I will see you in the next one.